Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Iman Maedi. I'm third semester in graduate school of Sarif Hidayatullah, Jakarta. First of all, I would like to thank to ICIIS 2020 for having me in this conference. And thank you to all of commit in this conference. And in these sections, I will explain about my paper. It is entitled "The Challenge of Multiculturalism and Its Reality in the Qur'an." And let's talk about the introduction of my paper. Multiculturalism is a new ideology that emerged in the 1970s. Recently, this concept has been discussed in various forums or in public discussion. Instead of calling for togetherness, peace, and tolerance for the others, which are the goals of multiculturalism, there are many still conflict, violence, injustice everywhere. It should be an attitude of tolerance, mutual respect, which the goal of this ideology, and which expected to be a solution in overcoming these problems. And because of that, this paper will explain to you about the challenge of multiculturalism and reality in the Quran and its reality in the Quran. So let's talk about the term or history of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism became a phenomenon in the modern world, which exists in the 1960s and received recognition in the 1970s. Multiculturalism is an alternative model in the context of building a country and overcoming and managing the plurality of society. And the success of implementing of this concept in maintaining this multicultural society has been proven in several countries like Canada, Australia, and other countries. And there are two stages work carried out. The first, emphasizing cultural diversity, and second, the aspect of social justice. And then we are going to talk about the multiculturalism. How is it emerge? How is it appear in the world on in right now? The term multiculturalism appeared in Switzerland in 1957. According to B. Barech, this concept emerged in the early 1970s, starting from a multicultural movement that appeared in Canada and Australia for the first time. And then multiculturalism spread to other countries like US, UK, and the many countries. And by the way, basically, multiculturalism appears in a country which is accompanied by how the social and political background is happening in that country. And then in America, in 1970, the emergence of multiculturalism was due to efforts to achieve equality in the same public space. And in Australia, the idea of multiculturalism emerged due to the birth of a policy from the Frank Galbraith Report in 1978, which provided a number of principles regarding multiculturalism, which contain about giving everyone the same opportunity to realize their potential and the same freedom of access to every service provided, and must be able to maintain their respective cultures without prejudice or other principles. And in other countries, like in England, this concept began in 1970, in education sector began in 1980. In the religious sector, this multiculturalism develops marked by being in religious groups being exempt from a number of laws. Okay, everyone, we are going to talk about or discuss about the concept of multiculturalism. And the term multiculturalism in the Oxford Advanced Learns Dictionary, it's come from the word in English. It's namely multiculturalism, and which is deviation from the word multicultural. And what is which is in then translated as a group of people from various religions, languages, races, and different national traditions. And this word, or the word multiculturalism itself, comes from the word multi, it's mean plural, and the second cultural is mean about the culture. Yeah, and the word multiculturalism was first used in Canada in the 1960. The Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau used it to counter the concept of biculturalism. And how about the development about the study of multiculturalism? And the development of the study of multiculturalism is systematized and popularized by Will Kemliga through his book entitled Liberalist Community and Cultures. It was published in 1989 and Multicultural Citizenship in 1995. And then in the in US, development of multiculturalism is known as identity politics, was initiated by the student and youth movement in the second half of the 1960s, which challenged established stereotypes and institutions. And this movement from the start has strong anti-racist connotations, which were attributed to Black people speaking out for their rights. And then the development of idea of multiculturalism in Indonesia. In context in Indonesia, the multiculturalism is understood as a humanitarian movement that is very difficult to solve and is a new reading seed for life, for life problems that are often trapped in the truth claim attitudes. And finally, in Indonesia, the multiculturalism in general can be received positively in Indonesian pluralistic society. The Indonesia have the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika in unity in diversity, and it's that compile the value basic of multiculturalism, I think. And then we are going to talk about the implementing or challenges of multiculturalism in the real life. The ideology of multiculturalism has been successfully applied since the 1970s in Western countries and has become a tool in starting a new chapter in managing and maintaining a multicultural society with different cultural, ethnic, national, and religious backgrounds. However, in the last 2 decades, there have been many debates because the ideology of multiculturalism is considered to have failed to integrate immigrant groups, especially those who are Muslim. Some of the violence, terrorism committed by extremists who are anti-Islam or Islamophobia. And furthermore, in the opposite case, this negative view of multiculturalism arises when that multiculturalism is considered a threat to a nation and the Western way of life. Yeah, and I think that's all about the multiculturalism, about concept, history, pro contra, and challenges in the real life. And we are going to talk about multiculturalism in the Quran. How the interpretation multiculturalism in the Quran. Multiculturalism in the Quran is not mentioned directly, but the holy book of Muslim that has existed since 14 centuries ago has provided basic messages where the meaning and purpose of the multiculturalism. The following is explanation of multiculturalism in the Quran, and there are three basic value of multiculturalism in the Quran. The first is justice and equality. In Arabic, al-adl and al-musawa. And this basic value in many verses in the Quran, and you can see in my paper. And then the basic value number 2 is human rights, and also in many verse in the Quran. And the third is tolerance. And the implication about in implication from this basic value, there are three. The first, anti-discrimination, because justice and equality. And second, prejudice is because of human rights. And the third, tolerance, is from the tolerance. And then we are going to talk about the quality value of multiculturalism in the verses on the Quran. And there are 4 verses basically in the Quran. And it's talking about the basic value of the multiculturalism in the Quran, I think. The first is the first 13 in Surah Al-Hujrah. And yeah, it sounds Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dzakarin wa unsa wa ja'alnakum syu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum innallaha alimun khabir. And in this verse, there are 3 basic values of multiculturalism. The first, harmony. The second, egalitarianism or equality of degrees. And the third, integration of moral. And then the second verse is the 48th in Surah Al-Ma'idah, and it sounds Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Walau sya'allahu laja'alakum ummatan wahidah walakin liyabluwakum fima atainakum fastabiqul khairat innallaha marjukum jami'an fayunabbiukum bima kuntum fihi takhtalifun. And according to Quraysh in his tafsir, the word law in the verse showed that making mankind only One kind is not his will, is not it will God, God, and the word law in the first contains an impossibility, and it's mean a multicultural, it's sunnatullah. And the third verse is verse 22 in Surah Ar-Rum. It's on Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa min ayatihi khalqus samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafu alsinatikum wa alwanikum inna fi dzalika laayatin lil alamin. And this verse is explained to us about the guarantee or multiculturalism in languages, in in color of our skin, and it's explained to us also explained to us about the guarantee of protection is guarantee of needs. And then the fourth in verse 213 in Surah Al-Baqarah, and it's all about uh, and you can see in my paper is table basic values of multiculturalism in the Quran. And I think my conclusion in this on in my paper is the idea of multiculturalism basically our values of multiculturalism are equality, justice, tolerance, and all the terms that refers to these things have been described in the Quran. In the simple terms, it can be said that the true reality of multiculturalism already exists in Islamic teachings, exactly in the Quran. And we are understanding every item of the values of the Quran can make every individual, nation, group in leads the nation to be more advanced in the civilization and make our best in our life. Yeah, that's it. And I think that's my explanation, and that's my it is all about my paper. And I want to apologize if I had mistake during my explanation in this video. And I want to thank again to ICIIS and to allow coming in this conference, and to yeah to all audience. I want to apologize if I had mistake, and thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.